So I was actually, seriously, from November 3rd of last year, you were able to have Barack Obama in a Barack Obama mask.
Yes.
And it didn't leak. It used to not leak. And now it gets out on Monday. What changed? Is it the blogosphere, or has the show decided during this season to put it out to generate interest?
I think the campaigns have decided to put it out. Like, that's the one thing we can't control. And I think that we have found, as the season went on, that the campaigns would let it out before we could decide whether or not we were going to leak it.
So which way do you like it better? Is it better to have a reveal, or is it better to come on the air and know that so many more people are watching?
I think, it's either or. I mean, certainly for the drama of it, it's better for the reveal, but it's probably better for the show that more people are tuning in to see what we're going to do with somebody like Governor Sarah Palin.
Speaking of Governor Sarah Palin, I know you've been asked many times, what was that like? We all wondered, behind the scenes. She was walking into the belly of the beast, the place where the parody was invented. What was it like being with her? How was she to the cast?
She couldn't have been more polite. She was very easy to work with. We wrote a couple of things for her. She had very few changes. But it was surreal, certainly sitting at the Weekend Update desk with her and, sort of thinking about everything that had happened at this show during the fall. It was very surreal to sit next to her and have Amy Poehler shooting somebody in a moose costume.
That was a notable moment.
It was a notable moment, yeah.
The rap number was, I think, Amy at her highest potential.
Yes.
She was as pregnant as someone can get. I think we can agree.
I think it's one of the greatest SNL moments of all time, having her, because it was such a good rap. You forgot she was pregnant, and then at the end, you sort of caught her in profile, and you're like, oh my goodness, what is this woman doing?
All the plumbers in the house put your pants
on. No, it was fantastic.
And everyone came to play. Jay Sudds pointing to Alaska, which is a fine point that a lot of people didn't see.
Right, no, yeah. It was, everybody came to play. We had Eskimos. We had Bobby Moynihan was in the moose costume, and I think if you look at his death rattle, it's a fantastic moose death rattle.
Do you think that'll be a trivia question in the years to come? Who was the moose fatally shot during?
I hope so. I'm putting together the Seth Meyers version of Truly Pursuit.
Amy really did put her all. You had a limited swaying role at the desk. But
super limited.
Yeah.
You're making too much of it.
I noticed you and the governor were syncopated.
Yes.
You were doing, which is hard to do sometimes.
No, it was probably the one time this fall I've been in sync with Governor Sarah Palin.
Very good. And you just, that's not on a card over my Wally isn't supplying that.
Can we get a shot of that, just to make sure there's no cards there? Yeah.
Has it gone from a point where you used to have to convince the campaigns to come on to where you're now saying, look, please give us some time, give us some space?
Well, Lauren has always made the point that they know how to find you, the campaign. So, we go out to them less than they sort of come and find us. And, Lauren doesn't actually have to do the work of writing the sketches and sort of figuring out what to do with them. So he's always very pro having them come on.
Was that a dig at Lorne Michaels?
No, it's just that,
producer?
yeah, he understands what makes good television, and then he also understands that because there's a show Saturday at 11:30, we're going to rise to the occasion and come up with something. So
I saw Charlie Rose ask this question with limited success. What does head writer mean?
It mostly, means that you sort of are the person between Lauren and the writers. If Lauren wants to get a message to the writers, I usually am his water carrier on that. But also, with stuff like when Senator McCain's coming, when Governor Palin's coming, you sort of take the front position on those pieces. The cold open, the monologue, those are sort of the things you focus on the most.
It has appeared to those of us who are viewers that on certain Weekend Update jokes, when Amy was still with you, a bet was made before Update as to what would play and what would fail. You often exchange a glance as if money is to be paid after the show. Can you throw open the curtains on this process?
Well, Saturday morning when we're picking which jokes we want to actually do on the show, every now and then you will voice on someone else's joke that you don't think it will work. That person will then say, I guarantee it'll work. And more often than not, the first person was right, and it doesn't work, and that is the fun part. And
how often does it work at dress and not at the air show?
There's a consistency. Once you do it in front of an audience, I mean, comedians, certainly when you perform live, if it even gets 1% less of a laugh, you notice. But it never gets 50% less of a laugh. I mean, that's usually pretty consistent.
Are you finding that you like solo anchoring, as we call it in the business. A lot of us like to have the place to ourselves. We find it better in terms of getting the audience's attention. I've tried it both ways, and I really think working alone is the way to go. What are your thoughts since Amy's been
Well,
on?
I know a lot of the people that have worked with you have said it's better that Brian works alone. You know, it's hard. I mean, it's obviously my chemistry with Amy is going to be impossible to replace. You know, she's not only a coworker, but she's one of my best friends. But for now, it's just interesting to do it alone. It's a totally different rhythm to be able to tell joke after joke. So we'll see what happens. But it's a work in progress.
And yet, you've yet to see the baby, and Archie is coming up on a couple weeks old here.
Yeah.
Why is that, Seth? Are you going to keep blaming it on the fact that you have a cold and it's out of concern for Archie?
I find it very hard not to blame this child for taking Amy away from the show.
Oh,
I know
so
that's
there
small
may
of
be
me.
Passive-aggressive or just aggressive?
No, I think it's just aggressive. There's nothing passive about it. I'll tell anybody who wants to listen.
Are you going to bring at least a token gift to the baby Archie? Or?
What's appropriate these days for kids?
Well,
I don't
you know
even
what?
know.
Just about anything goes. Anything with sharp edges, small parts,
Okay,
they
good,
recommend.
good.
For
I'll just grab some of it from my desk, I'm sure.
The tiny ones. Yeah, any of the swag you get as a member of the cast and as head writer. The show is 33 years old.
Yeah, something like that.
It's the closest thing to self-generating that there is in television. You're as popular, you have played as large a role in this election cycle as any other cast, any other incarnation of SNL. What do you think is behind that dynamic?
Well, I think this election sort of helped us more than anything else. Everybody was paying attention to it. You had such big personalities both running and as vice presidents, and because there were so many people paying attention, it made our job easier. It's always easier to poke fun at things that people have been paying attention to the minutia of, so that really helped this time around.
So you're seated or standing next to one of these candidates. You know that there's a joke in the quiver that's going to go right to the heart of who they are. Do you ever hold back? Are you ever ill at ease being around them?
No, I have to say, and I'm sure you know this as well, once you get, the closer you get to them, the more you realize they are just people. They obviously are running for a very important office, but your politeness kicks in, your courtesy kicks in, and obviously if they're here, they're helping you out. They're, being guests in your home, so it's very fun to have them here. And more often than not, you're surprised at how far they're willing to go.
Do you get pushback from their staff? How much as a percentage of the material you've tried this year have they said, you know what, we're going to keep the governor out of whatever zip-up suit you had prepared?
Well, we certainly start from a point of view if we know that this is a person running for elective office. There are certain things that they're not going to do. But everything they've pulled back on as far as candidates this year, when they go, we think this is inappropriate, I will say that they have been right, and it was inappropriate, and we were trying to sneak it past them.
You tried, nonetheless.
We tried, yeah. We did try, nonetheless.
Embarrass all the candidates in the...
Well, it's always good to have a couple things in there that they go, we want this out, and you go, okay, we'll take it out, and then it feels like you've met them halfway.
Oh, so a false air of compromise.
It's trickery.
The
Deception's another good word for it.
Without your partner, Amy, do
Yes.
we know the future of Weekend Update? Are we going to see you paired with someone else, or are you going to continue to believe you can pilot the ship all by yourself?
If you want to do it with me, you have to ask. I've told you this.
No,
You
I'm not
can't-
saying-
No, stop doing it like this.
I've thought there was a need for a professional, someone with a
Right.
journalism
No,
background,
I've read
but
your
I'm not saying
emails.
it has to be me.
Yeah, no, we'll see. As you know from your short week here, Lorne Michaels does not rush into decisions. So I'm sure we'll just see how it goes and probably evaluate it after the new year.